Hi, everyone. The history of Arizona has become quite a curiosity for me, and kind of the touch point has become St. Xavier del Bac Mission. It's probably the longest standing building in the whole state. And the cliff dwellings also are very much a curiosity to me, and more on that in a bit. But I made that short video about the coastline of Arizona, oceanfront property. Okay, here's a map of it. St. Xavier del Bac is on this map. There's a lot of familiar place names here. The rivers' names have changed. Um, like the upper rivers there would the lower one, which is called the Seneca, would line up with the Phoenix area, and the Coco Maricopa River is non-existent. So there's some place names, and very briefly, I see familiarity. There's counties in Arizona named Coconino, Maricopa, Apache, Yuma, and Gila. Just at a glance, all these place names are familiar, and it's very much a curiosity that they had a Rio Grande del Coral, and they put a little bit too much mystery around their very beautiful coral and shell jewelry. Here's a short write up on it. You could pause it if you want to read about it, but it just above the pink highlight, it said they got it from the Gulf of California. And I would suggest they had the Straits of California for a while, at least during their civilization. And as you can notice, it's extremely populated area. So the last map and this map came from like a documentary type historical documentary on St. Xavier del Bac, and they showed two maps. And this is what got me going because one shows the Straits of California and the other shows the Gulf of California. And that really, and the St. Xavier del Bac is on both maps. So, what is going on? So, this is from the St. Xavier del Bac website, and it shows a historical account. And according to this, 1767, the Jesuits were expelled. I should back up a little bit. They first arrived, according to this, in 1692. So they got the boot pretty quickly, and the Franciscans took over. And I could devote a whole video to how the Jesuit starts and the Franciscans take over. It's a repeated thing in history. Okay, so construction began in 1783 and it was completed in 1797. So, according to that time frame, something happened soon after, at least in that time frame. Um, and then in 1821, the Franciscans leave. So it's making me think, did something happen between 1797 and 1821? Because that is not a very long time to stick around. To put in so much into a building and mission like that. It's not their style to just up and leave. So I'm wondering if they didn't experience some sort of hardship, like the Straits of California becoming the Gulf of California. Perhaps something big happened. So I started looking at a number of maps, and this is from 1700. It's it's pretty close to the right time frame. And here's the map of the island of California. So 1700, it was an island. And let's see, curiously, um, oh, first of all, let's look over the some of the place names in on the island: Mendocino, Monterey. It looks like let's see, where are we at here? Catalina Islands, Canal of Santa Barbara. So these places have been there a long time, and they're in the right location. So then, there's a big long key to this, and I didn't get the number highlighted on the map. Sorry about that, but number 206 is St. Xavier. So 1700, this is not adding up. People can manipulate history. I mean, I guess it's possible that, they had a much smaller mission, but they didn't get there till the very late 1600s. So it's a little perplexing about how history is written. So I want to, I looked at a lot of maps, and here's one again of the island of California. And, part of the problem with these maps, are very difficult to read. I wonder how much of that's on purpose, especially the more recent ones. I mean, they are a blurry mess. This also shows the island of California. And what I want to point out in the upper right, it has Mar Glacial. So maybe there's a glacier up there, but there's such a blank to the upper um, northwest North American continent. And another thing I want to point out that if you just take note, the water flow um, on the continental part of the land runs from the northeast to the southwest pretty consistently. And I saw another map. This was just such a curiosity that I thought I would share. And this is a zoom in, and I marked the pink line that's the 30th parallel. And the upper circle says the river runs under. Okay, and that's probably the Rio Grande. Interesting landmark. And the other circle is the Canal of Calulacan. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right because some of it's blocked out by writing, but have you ever heard of a canal running through Mexico? Interesting feature, don't you think? I don't know. It makes me wonder about what's been going on along, over the long haul that we're not being told about. Okay, this I just wanted to share. It's really too blurry to zoom in, but you can see the island of California. And what I wanted to point out about this one is that middle river is probably the equivalent of the Mississippi, but that it drains in about the same location of the Rio Grande. So when did that change course? Okay, so more on the timeline. So I'm not sure the accuracy of even what they're providing us. What I do want to look at, 1887, the mission suffered earthquake damage. In 1913, the Franciscans returned. So did something happen around, or after 1700 into 1800? And let's see, I did find that there was big time earthquakes in Southern California in 1812. Two of them were very large, and you could pause to read it. I should have, cut and pasted into a Word doc, so I apologize it's so tiny. But this article in this 1812 earthquake caused tsunami. It caused a ship to get floated onto land. Um, but remarkably, they were saying the damage done to sort of the flimsy buildings of the missions, were damaged, and um, they were closed. And these were not wimpy buildings, folks. Um, Here's the West Ventura earthquake, December 12th, 1812. Now, it looks like earthquake damage, but these buildings look quite old. Okay, and like the building on the right, I mean, it looks like it's been damaged more than once, at least that's what my eyes are seeing. I have no evidence of that. But this was not a wimpy building. 1812 Ventura earthquake. This building looked like it has been around a very long time, earthquake damage or not. And here was another mission that was damaged. And also the San Juan Capistrano church was in the area. And, this is just like a screenshot from pulling it up. But this is a massive building. This, in my opinion, was not built in the 1700s or the 1600s by a few missionaries that rolled into town. This looks like that's been around a long time, earthquake damage or not. Okay, so I moved forward in the maps and I got very peculiar looking maps like this. And when you zoom on it, it looks like, okay, now the island of California is like those straits have filled in the upper portion where California is, and it looks like some giant rifts in the earth, like there was massive damage done to the earth. I don't know how else to describe it. Um, and here's another map. I mean, California, Nevada, maybe into Utah look like a complete whiteout. And that isn't the only map. Here's a different map. It shows these giant rifts in the earth with a whiteout. Now it's showing a little water drainage on that one. And let's see, now we're up to 1827. Now something, it could be in the map making, but the Baja California, that long stretch of land coming off the continent, it looks a lot longer and skinnier to me. So there looks like there's been changes even after this. Okay, now we're up to 1850. It looks a little fatter to me. I'm not getting the measuring stick out, but this map from 1850 was very readable. I mean, not perfectly clear, but you could zoom and make things out. And those purple dots, um, now the latitude was easy to go by, But the longitude in these old maps would go from the distance from Washington, D.C. So I could plot it pretty accurately, the latitude. And okay, on the bottom left where the yellow meets pink is where, the Gulf of California would open up. And so I went straight up to the 30th, or the right number, 34, I believe. And that is where the present day Hoover Dam is. Okay, geography is completely changed, and I want to get into that. And that upper purple spot is, a ballpark figure where the Utah border is. And I circled a couple things. Now, what would probably be the present day Grand Canyon is what's circled there. And it's really hard to make out the words, even the best of circumstances, but it looks like it could be. I can't make out the first words, but it ends in sulfurous pyramids. Okay? That was the Grand Canyon, apparently. A lake running into it, going in probably both directions, and called sulfurous sulfurous pyramids. Okay, interesting, isn't it? And on the left, I have circled, which is Vegas, and that is in the right location for Las Vegas. The bottom middle, which would be the Phoenix area, is ruins of the houses of the Aztecs. So it makes me wonder if there wasn't some sort of catastrophe pre the time the map was made, and I'll discuss how the rivers very much changed here in a minute. And then on the right we have Chaco, which is probably Chaco Canyon. So at the very least, the Colorado River has dramatically changed courses because of the location of the Hoover Dam. And I'll get into more of all the geological river changes next.